Hello, this is Debbie Drum and welcome to this week's Workshop Mini. Today we are going to be talking about time. It's such an important topic, and one of the questions that I asked to get into my Facebook group, Passive Income with Content, which everyone here watching should be in, because we talk about topics to make passive income with content. That's what we do. One of the questions that I ask is, what do you struggle with when it comes to, making money online in your online business with content? And one of the most popular answers is, I don't have time. And this kind of frustrates me because especially even in when people say that in their personal life, I get, I question this because it to be true, right? If you really, really, really want to do something, you know that you can make time for it, right? It's just an excuse that people say when they didn't do something, like return a phone call, or they didn't, do something that they said they were going to do, right? I had a friend the other day, and I texted her and she never texted me back. And I was like, well, why didn't you text me back? She's like, oh, I'm so busy. I was, working. I had one thing after another. I'm like, yeah, but a text takes 2 seconds. So, we all make these kinds of excuses. But again, the truth is that if we really wanted to do something, we make the time for it. So having no time is really not an excuse, or it is an excuse, and we have to admit that it's an excuse, and we can make the time if we want to get something done, or if we want to see a result, and work needs to be put in and it needs to get done. Okay, so let's eliminate the time excuse. And today I'm going to give you 3 tips to get more time, okay, and get more things done, and really never feel like you don't have any time, because you'll have time for everything that you want to do. Okay, so 3 tips. The first tip is you want to prioritize. Okay, now this could be a task. Let's say that you have a to-do list that has 20 things on it, right? You want to really weed out the stuff that maybe just doesn't need to be done right now, or maybe that you're never going to do it, and just take it off the list. Maybe it's something that you don't even want to do, and you feel like you have to do it because you feel bad, or you feel like you should be doing something. You should be doing it, so you have it on the list. But in essence, it's really just weighing you down. So you have to take that list and literally write it out and say, okay, I don't want to do this. I don't need to do this. I don't need to do this. So that's how you kind of get that list shorter, okay? So that's the whole point, is to make a workable list, to actually get excited to complete this list and have it be something that can be done, right? We don't want to create an impossible lifestyle where we have a million things to do and it feels like we're not doing anything because we're so bogged down that we have a million things to do, right? So that's the whole point. So this is still step 1. We're still working on this list, and we want to prioritize. Now, prioritizing a list does not mean that the most important thing gets done first, okay? So you can prioritize a list in these different ways. Maybe you want to get the fastest thing done first, because you could just get it off the list and cross it off and feel better about it. Maybe you want to get the easiest thing done first. So maybe it takes less brain power. Maybe it's just a no-brainer to get it done. Get that off the list. You could, of course, do it by importance, right? So if something is really important that you need to do, then that kind of should jump up, right? Let's talk about maybe some kind of health appointment that you need to make, right? A doctor, or just something that is crucial with time that you need to do now as opposed to putting it off in 2 weeks. Okay, that's pretty obvious, right? Maybe the priority list has to do with something that's enjoyable to you, right? So right now, I'm working on this project that it's not necessarily the biggest money maker for me, but I enjoy doing it. So I'll spend like a chunk of time throughout my day working on it because I like it. It makes me happy. And sometimes we need to incorporate that in our life. And then of course, and this should be a good practice that you implement in your business, is that you want to really incorporate money-making tasks in your to-do list. At least have 1 to 2 in there that is like, yep, this makes me money, so yep, it's a priority, and yep, I'm gonna do it. So these are the things that you should be thinking of. And I think the most important thing that I said in step number 1, or tip number 1, to prioritize, is take the stuff off the list that's weighing you down, that you're just not going to enjoy, that you don't have to do now, that you could focus on other things right now and you'll worry about it later. Or we'll go to step number 3 and we'll move it there. So before we get there, let's talk about tip number 2 to get more time. And this is really, really important. I've started to implement this in my business and I've been getting a ton more done. And that is to do the task that you're doing without distraction. Okay, so things, take note of the things that distract you. What distracts you? Maybe your family members coming in your office when you're working. Maybe that distracts you, and maybe you're like, dude, I need 30 minutes of nobody opening this door so I can get this done, right? Maybe social media distracts you. That's a big, big distraction sometimes, right? We take a little break. We wonder what other people are doing, who's doing what on social media, and before we know it, 20 minutes pass by and that's just wasted time, right? It happens. If I had my phone, if I wasn't recording right now, I'd raise it up. Your phone, text messages, phone calls. Put that puppy on do not disturb for a chunk of time that you designate to get the work done. And also make this chunk of time realistic. Maybe you only need 15 minutes. Maybe you need 30 minutes. Maybe you need a solid hour or 90 minutes to get this done. Because think about how you're actually going to feel when you get the task done. You're going to feel pretty darn good when you're a step closer, a step closer, a step closer to getting the work done. That's just it. And you have to realize that that's the feeling that you want, as opposed to going around on social media and wasting time and texting people and just doing things that, yeah, you're sitting in front of the computer, but what are you actually getting done that's going to move you ahead in your business, that's going to move you ahead in your life? Okay? So first step is to prioritize. Second step is to take action without distractions. All right? Really, really important. And actually, I haven't done this yet, but we of course hear this from people all the time, to maybe get some kind of timer out and really, put the work in for that allotted period of time, and then that you've completed that work and you've put it all in for all of that amount of time, and not just like 10 minutes or 5 minutes or 10 minutes with a distraction of 30 minutes of social media, right? Social media will always be there. Texting will always be there. All that stuff will be there. You need to get the work done, okay? So, number 3 is something that I've been working on since literally the beginning of my business. I'm getting really, really a lot better at this now. And that is, of course, outsourcing. And I don't know about you, but for me, this was always a little bit tough because I like to do a lot of things myself because I know that it's going to be done right. And so I take a lot of time out, even if it's the littlest things. I'm like, oh, this only takes 5 minutes. I can do it. I don't need somebody else to do it for me. And this is actually a mistake because all these little things add up, and the stuff that makes you money in your business is what you actually should be focusing on, not like making AWeber forms or scheduling out social media posts or whatever it is that you do in your business that you could be handing off to somebody else to do. Okay? So the biggest thing that takes the most amount of time when you're outsourcing is training. But and I think I did a session on this a while ago. I'll find it and link it to this video. But what you want to do is when you actually do the training on whatever task that you want to outsource, is you want to do the training as if you're doing this training for not just one person, but this one person that's going to do it, and then maybe 2 years down the road or even 6 months down the road, that person maybe will leave and you need another person, and you already have the training done, and you say, here, this is what you have to do. So you only have to do that training once, and you keep that training in an organized fashion where anybody can go in and do those tasks for you. It doesn't matter if they're new or if your other employee just quit because you have the training. Sure, there's a learning curve again. That's inevitable, but at least you've done the work of saving that training, putting it in an organized fashion, and where anybody can just come in and do it, okay? So we did a workshop this week on outsourcing and with Davin Michaels, and he's very successful in the business of outsourcing. He has a whole team. It's called 123 Employee, and he has trained people that could go in and not only do the stuff that, you know, takes a lot of time, like blog posts and whatever else we need to do for marketing in our business, but also additional stuff like lead generation, finding podcasts to speak on, finding other speaking engagements, things that really take up time, the networking that you need to do to get further in your business that you might not have time to do because you're doing so many other things in your business and in your life. So imagine if you had somebody doing all that stuff for you, where your connections and your speaking engagements and your calendar is just full from work that somebody else has done for you, and you didn't even have to do it because you trained somebody once to do it. They know how to do it. They know how to reach out. They know how to be polite. They know how to send an email. They know how to interact and correspond with. They basically do the networking on your behalf. So, you know, I know that I've gotten so much publicity with podcasts that I've been on, and they've been remarkable interviews, and these people work so hard on their podcast. They rank them high in Google, and I didn't have to do anything but just do an interview, and they did all the work, and I didn't have to find those speaking engagements because somebody else found them for me. So I can be talking about my books, I can be talking about my products, I could be talking about my software, and it's just being sprinkled around all over the internet, and I didn't have to do any work for it. It's a beautiful thing. So that's why I really enjoyed this week's workshop. I'm going to put it in the chat box right now if you want to go take a look at that. And I believe, like with the deal, it's really, really good. You get like over 50 hours free of somebody who will work for you, included in that package. So 50 hours of people who will get you those speaking engagements, get you the leads, get you the blog posts that you could be posting on that are not yours, like, you know, affiliate posting, partner posting, things like that, that you just might not have the time to do because you're focusing on other things in your business with the little amount of time that you might have to focus on your business, right? So these little things that you might not have time for, now you have time for, and now you're getting even further in your business because you're actually having a team of people help you get the things that you need done. And it feels so good. It really, really does when you start to just take one step and outsource one thing and you're like, ooh, I kind of like this. Then you outsource another thing, then you outsource another thing, and it just makes total sense because you want to live your life. You don't want to be tied to your computer. You don't want to be, you want to be spending time with your friends, your family, and you want to be doing the fun stuff in life, and you don't want to be in front of your computer 7 days a week or long nights because you just don't have time during the day to get stuff done. And it's going to really, really help you. So I really urge you to watch the replay from this week. Great. Thank you, Sally. Perfect. Sally says that she started outsourcing based on our last video that we talked about. Okay, great. That's amazing. Donna, yeah, Donna, you can definitely outsource articles. You do not have to be, one of the things that I've done in the past is that maybe you want to write the articles, but you don't necessarily want to put it in the blog post yourself. You don't want to find the images yourself. You don't want to make the big splash image yourself, the featured image. You want other people to do these little tasks that help you to get the whole thing done quicker. So you don't have to outsource an entire project. You can outsource specific components of it, okay? And yes, we did do a workshop mini on outsourcing, and one of the tools that I recommended was Screencast-O-Matic, and that's how I film a lot of my videos to do training, because you can do quick videos and then you can even have them hosted on Screencast-O-Matic. So we'll definitely link this video to that one. All right, guys, that is it for today. Thanks for joining, and go check out that workshop for sure. I put the link in the chat. It'll also be inside the YouTube video as well, and those get posted every Friday, so go check it out. All right, thanks for joining, and I'll see you next time.